All right, welcome everyone once again. I hope that all of you guys are well. Today we'll be starting out with sex-linked inheritance. So in our previous sessions, we've been focusing on monohybrid crosses. We did blood groups. We also did sex determination. But now we want to just introduce a small and short concept known as the sex-linked inheritance. Okay. So when we're talking about sex-linked inheritance, what are we actually talking about? So basically, if you didn't know, some diseases, they can be transmitted from parent to offspring. Okay. So basically, you can have diseases that can be transmitted from what? From a parent to their offspring. So let's say that we have got a pregnant mother or a pregnant lady, and the lady has got that genetic disorder. They can be able to transfer it to them, to the offspring. For example, HIV. HIV, this virus can be transmitted from mother to offspring through childbirth. So basically, there are some diseases that are known as genetic disorders. So whenever we talk about genetic disorders, these are the diseases that are caused or they are linked to the genes of a person. And these genes are actually located in the sex chromosome. So you guys need to remember that we have got two types of sex chromosomes, right? So we have got the sex chromosomes found in males, and we also have got the sex chromosomes found in females. Remember, guys, that the karyotype, a normal human karyotype, consists of a total of 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs of chromosomes. And then the 23rd pair, from what I told you guys, I said the 23rd pair is known as the gonosomes. So the females have got an XX chromosome, as I explained last time, to say whenever we're having a female has got an XX chromosome. So these are two X chromosomes and they are large and they are long. Okay. Whereas the male has got an XY chromosome on pair number 23. So a male has got an XY, means that they've got this large chromosome known as the X chromosome and this small chromosome known as the Y chromosome. So that's why we say that for females have got XX and males have got XY. Okay. So one of the characteristics of these sex chromosomes is that the X chromosome is most likely to carry the allele causing a genetic disorder because it is big and it has got more genes. So I already told you guys last time that the X chromosome, it is big and it carries more genes compared to the Y chromosome. I mean, if you look from these diagrams, guys, on pair number 23, for female and males, when you look for the males especially, the X chromosome, it is the bigger one or it is the longer one. Okay. So the X chromosome is big. Okay. It is big. That's one thing. And the second thing, it has got more genes. So there are more genes and there are more alleles that are found on X chromosome than on Y chromosome. The Y chromosome cannot carry any alleles, guys. The Y chromosome is so small that it cannot carry any genes, it cannot carry any alleles. But when we focus on the X chromosome is big and it carries more genes. Okay, so whenever we talk about a genetic disorder, or whenever we talk about a disorder that is transmitted from parent to offspring, basically it is transmitted through the X chromosome. So basically the X chromosome, it is the one that carries the allele that causes the genetic disorder. So for example, if we talk about a color blindness, for example, or we talk about albinism, okay, let's just talk about color blindness. Color blindness, I think, is one of those sex-linked inheritance diseases, okay, sex-linked or genetic disorders, okay? So when you are colorblind as a child of a parent, where did you get that color blindness? You got it from the X chromosome of your parents, either one of them. But as long as an X chromosome, it can carry an allele that causes diseases. Okay. So basically X chromosomes, I repeat again, X chromosomes, they can carry alleles that are able to cause diseases or that are able to cause genetic disorders, because basically X chromosomes has got more genes compared to the Y chromosome. So the Y chromosome cannot carry any alleles causing diseases. It cannot carry any genes for diseases. But for the X chromosome, they are able to carry the allele that can cause a genetic disorder. All right. So that's all about sex-linked inheritance, guys. You guys should just know that, and the rest is now application. Okay, because basically, just to give you a summary of what I said sex-linked diseases are just those genetic disorders that are transmitted from parent. So they're transmitted from parent to offspring. How are they transmitted from parent to offspring? They actually sit on the X chromosome. Okay, so basically, for you to have a genetic disorder, it actually sits, or that genetic disorder, or that allele, or that gene that causes the disorder, it actually is found on the X chromosome, because the X chromosome is big. The X chromosome is large, guys. It carries more genes and it carries more alleles compared to the Y chromosome. The Y chromosome in males, it is so small, guys. It's small, so it cannot carry any diseases. So whenever we talked about sex-linked inheritance, this is the inheritance whereby you inherit a chromosome, like a gonosome that has got a disease, an X chromosome that has got a disease. Okay, so now let's just try to apply this by looking at an example. Guys, remember I said that you need to know how to do a monohybrid cross, because most of the things, they are based off on a monohybrid cross. Okay, so here's a common scenario: hemophilia. Hemophilia is one of those conditions whereby you do not have the blood clotting factor. So it means that whenever you bleed, your blood cannot clot. You guys already know what clotting is, right? Do you guys know what is blood clotting?
I think xa igazi liqinile lingahambi kahle.
Exactly, maliqinile. So basically, guys, in English, when talking about blood clotting, simply means that your blood is becoming a solid, it's solidifying. Okay, for example, if you get an injury, let's say you are running and then you tip and fall. So when you tip and fall, what will happen? You will actually start bleeding, right? But later on, you'll find out that your blood will start becoming thicker and it will start becoming more solid. And as your blood becomes more solid, you do not continue bleeding forever and ever. But the people that have got hemophilia, these people having hemophilia, since hemophilia is a sex-linked disease, what actually does it do? The hemophilia simply means that you will bleed forever whenever you get injured. Like your blood cannot thicken up. Okay, your blood cannot thicken up, or your blood cannot become thick to stop bleeding. So whenever you have got hemophilia, you are more likely to bleed for longer periods of time than the average person or than the normal person. Okay, so this hemophilia is a sex-linked disease, and it is caused by the presence of a recessive allele. Okay, it is caused by the presence of a recessive allele XH. Okay, this is where you need to be very careful, guys. The allele that causes a sex-linked disease or a genetic disorder, basically, we say it's X chromosome, and then on top of it, we write the allele itself. You don't just write H and you say that this is a sex-linked inheritance scenario. No, you write X and then you kind of put a small h on top as a superscript. So this is known as a what? This is known as a recessive allele that is sitting on the X chromosome. Okay, because remember, guys, I told you that these alleles that cause disorders, these alleles that cause genetic disorders, they actually sit on top of the X chromosome. So whenever you make your diagrams, whenever you are dealing with a scenario of a sex-linked inheritance, whenever you hear the term sex-linked, this term sex-linked disease, it simply means that this disease, it is caused by an allele that sits on the X chromosome. So basically, this X with an H, they even told you that the presence of a recessive allele, X with a small h on top. So this is a recessive allele that causes this condition. So this is a recessive allele. That's one thing. Number two, it causes hemophilia. So the presence of this allele causes hemophilia. All right. Okay, before you even start with the cross, guys, I want to ask you something. If I give you the gonosomes, let's just say pair number 23 of a particular individual, and I say that the gonosomes is XX, and then, let me just say XX, right? XX, and then let me put small letter h, small letter h. Can you guys try to interpret this sex chromosome? Tell me the gender of this person and tell me whether they have got hemophilia or they do not have hemophilia. Let's hear from you guys. The first person that I have written here. It is X, X with a small letter H, X with a small letter H. Yes, Yangoba?
Sir, this person is a female and it has hemophilia.
Exactly. So this is a female and has hemophilia. So I'm just going to say it's a female that is hemophiliac, to write it in better terms. So this is a hemophiliac. You guys can write that, right? All right. So this is a female and she is hemophiliac. So it means that she has got a condition, hemophilia. Right. She's a female. She has got a condition, hemophilia. How did we see that? You guys can see properly here that we have got a recessive allele. If you just focus on those alleles on top, just don't mind the X chromosomes, because the X chromosomes they are just there to tell us what these alleles that are sitting on the X chromosome. All right. So when you've got small letter h like this, you guys can see that both of these are recessive. So this is kind of a homozygous recessive type of scenario. And you guys already know that the recessive allele, for it to be shown in the phenotype, what needs to happen? Or it must be also associated with another recessive allele. Okay, so you can say that this is a female and they are hemophilia. Right. So I want to hear from you guys. Is this scenario ever possible? This scenario whereby I have got X, H, and I've got Y, H. Is this scenario ever possible? Give a reason why.
Oh, because sir, the Y chromosome, it cannot carry any genetic diseases.
Yes. The Y chromosome cannot be able to carry any alleles that cause genetic disorders, because I already told you guys that this. Okay, I'll be back. 2 seconds. Can I have 2 seconds? Okay. Exactly as I was saying, guys, I said that the Y chromosome cannot be able to carry any alleles, okay, because it is so small. Right, so you will never have a scenario whereby you've got a Y chromosome that is having anything. The Y chromosome is always empty, it's not carrying anything. Right, so if I remove this small letter H from the Y chromosome, can you please interpret for me the phenotype of this person? This X with a small letter H and a Y. Is this person, okay, give me the gender and tell me whether they have got hemophilia or they do not have hemophilia. Yes, Yangoba?
Sir, this person is a male and it has hemophilia.
Yes, so first of all, he's a male and he's got hemophilia, or he is hemophiliac. It's a hemophiliac male. It's a hemophiliac male. All right. How do we see that this is a male? Because it's an XY. Okay, XY chromosome. Those are the chromosomes for male. And then the X chromosome has got this small letter H. And I told you guys that this X with a small letter H is a recessive allele. According to the statement, it's a recessive allele that causes a hemophilia. So it's a recessive allele that causes hemophilia. So basically, whenever we have got a male having this small letter H from the X chromosome, then this male is hemophiliac. So I want to ask you more questions, guys, from here. This male, since he is hemophiliac, from which parent did he get the disease? From which parent did this male get the disease, the hemophilia? Yes, Telmo?
I have a question.
Okay, let's start with someone who's answering. I'll come back to you. Yes, Telmo?
Say the person gets the disease from the female parents.
From the female parent, it's from the mother, Sangova. So it's known as a mother, a female parent, but it's fine. Yeah, it's from the mother. So basically, this male who is hemophiliac, a male who's got hemophilia, he got the X chromosome that has got the H from the mother, because this is the infected chromosome, guys. This is the chromosome that is having the recessive allele, the X chromosome having the recessive allele of small letter H. Okay, we already know that for males can only inherit an X chromosome from the mother, then the Y chromosome is always coming from the father. So basically, the father is the one that is causing this male to have a Y chromosome. But what's causing this male to be hemophiliac? What's causing this male to have hemophilia is this X chromosome that has got a small letter H. And where is this X chromosome coming from? It must be coming from the mother, because a male gets their X chromosome from their mother. They inherit their X chromosome from their mother. So we'll say that basically this male is sick because of their mother. Okay, what's your question, Telmo?
So I'm still confused on when they say recessive allele. What do you mean by that?
Yes, exactly. We need to get there. Recessive is recessive. The recessive that we've been talking about since we started with genetics. Recessive allele, it means that it is a recessive to a dominant allele. So whenever we have got a recessive allele, then it means that we must have a dominant allele. It means that it is marked, okay? If we have got a dominant allele, the dominant allele is the one that will be shown in the phenotype, okay? So let's just do this, right? And let's say that we have got a X, right? And I say this is XX, like this. This is XX for a female, all right? When we are dealing with scenarios of sex-linked inheritance, guys, each and every chromosome, they must have an allele on top of them. If I want to say that this is a normal female, let's just say I want to say that this is a normal female, it means that this female does not have hemophilia. This is an incorrect genotype, guys. It's wrong. It's wrong for you to say that this is a female and you write something like XX. No. Whenever we are talking about sex-linked inheritance, you cannot just say that this is a normal person just by writing XX. Once they give you a recessive allele, which is X with a small letter H on top, and they say that it is the one that causes hemophilia, it means that the dominant allele does the opposite. Okay, so whenever I want to represent someone who's normal, someone who's not having the condition, I would put X with a capital letter H, like this, capital letter H. So this capital letter H is just trying to counteract this recessive allele, to say that if the recessive allele is the one that is causing the disease, then a person who doesn't have a disease, they must have a dominant allele. Okay, so I now put X with a capital letter H, or I can put another X with a small letter H. All right, so if you just write XX is not correct, guys. Whenever you're dealing with sex-linked inheritance, you are supposed to indicate what alleles do you have on top here. If the person is normal and they tell you that the recessive allele is the one that is causing the condition, then it means that a normal person, they must have a dominant allele, because dominant is just the exact opposite of recessive. So if I say that when you are sick, you are recessive, then it means that when you are not sick, you are dominant. So it's very important for you to always put that. So we say it's a recessive allele to just try to give an idea, to say that for someone who does not have the condition, we assume them to have a dominant allele that is able to fight the condition in a sense. Yes, Siangoba.
So I wanted to ask something. It can be written as X and carried small letter H, and X and carried capital letter H.
No. You always start with a capital letter. You always start with a capital letter. If you've got a capital letter, start with it. If you've got a capital letter, you start with a capital letter.
So
you cannot write something like this, guys. You already know that you can never write a genotype like this, right? It's like you start with a capital letter, then a small letter like this.
Yeah. Okay, so but if we can have two capital letters, right?
Yes, we can have two capital letters, all right? So that's another scenario that we have to do, the last one, of course. So the other one that we have is X, and we can have two capital letters, all right? So this person, when we look at their phenotype, they are absolutely normal, guys, because they're having capital letters on. I'm sure if the recessive allele is a small letter and it is the one that is causing the disease. So it means having a capital letter, it means that you don't have a disease. This one is also a normal female. But what is the difference between the normal female that I have here and the first one that I have here? Okay, so the first normal female that I have is having capital letter H and small letter h. And I told you guys that the small letter h is causing the condition, or it is causing the genetic disorder. So basically, in other words, this female, although she is normal, why is she normal? Because the dominant allele is the one that is always shown in the phenotype. So having this capital letter H, it means that that's going to be opposite to the small letter h, right? So that's going to be the dominant characteristics, right? But now, since this female is also having X with a small letter h, we say that the female is actually a carrier of the disease because she is carrying the recessive allele that is causing the condition. So this is a normal female because they are not sick, they do not have a condition, but they do have the allele in one of their X chromosomes. Yes, Batabile.
My question is it possible that a person can have a dominant allele that causes the disease?
If the scenario tells you that the condition is caused by a dominant allele, then you can say that. But for this specific scenario, they told us that the condition is caused by a recessive allele. So it means that the dominant one has the opposite. You read the statement first. You are told, Uti, the dominant allele is the one that causes the disease. If they say that the disease is caused by a dominant allele, then it means that the recessive one must be a normal one. If they say that the disease is caused by a recessive allele, it means that the dominant one must be the normal one. You just do the opposite. Dominant and recessive, they act opposite to one another. Yes, Telmo?
So in other words, you need to have two recessive alleles to have the disorder.
Yes. For hemophilia, a female must have two recessive allele because, guys, I told you guys that the recessive allele is only shown in the phenotype in the homozygous recessive condition. Otherwise, if you introduce a dominant allele, the recessive allele will be maxed. Just like here in this normal carrier female. So this is 1, this 2. You see this normal carrier female number 2. This normal carrier female number 2, she has got a capital letter H, a dominant allele, and she has also got a small letter h, a recessive allele. We know that this recessive allele, it has got an infection, okay? It is the one causing the disorder, but because there is a dominant allele, it is maxed according to the law of dominance. I already told you guys that the law of dominance says that in a heterozygous condition, the dominant allele is the one that shows in the phenotype. So when it comes to being sick or not being sick, this female is not sick. The female here that is having like capital letter H and small letter h is not sick because the dominant allele is there. But she is carrying, that's why you call her a carrier. She is carrying the recessive allele, but she is not necessarily sick herself. Yes, and mother?
I wanted to ask you, according to my understanding, when I look now here, would see the difference between the normal female that has a carrier of small letter h and the normal female that have a both carrier or both carried capital letter H. Is that the one that has a small letter h, when we do a monohybrid cross, it will affect the male, right?
Yes.
If
they were
the
to
one
have,
that has two capital letters, then Lavana two capital letters, the normal female one, when we do a monohybrid cross, it doesn't affect the male. All their offspring will be normal. It won't have a hemophilia.
Exactly. That's what you are going to do. Exactly. It's just the common law of dominance that we've been doing all along. But it's just that we put it on X chromosomes. Otherwise, it's still the same law of dominance. Okay, let's say we have got X with an H on top and Y. This last genotype that I'm giving you. What's the gender and tell me their state? Yes, Sangoma.
Say, I think, I don't think. I'm saying here, you see, it is a male and it doesn't have a hemophilia.
Yes, so this is a normal male. Okay, can I ask guys, do you think that a male can be a carrier? Do you think, guys, a male can be a carrier of this condition? Yes, Mahlono.
Oh, so the question I wanted to ask, you already asked it. Yeah, you're asking the question.
Okay. That's
I
what
wanted to ask if, can a male be a carrier?
I'm asking you guys,
Yeah.
do you think a male can ever be a carrier, considering that what we've discussed so far? Anyone want to give it a try? Do you think that a male can ever be a carrier? Bonolo says no. Why not, Bonolo? Give a reason for your answer. Others, guys, why would you think that a male is not a carrier?
So I think yes, it can be a carrier.
All right. Why?
Because it still has an X, still has an X chromosome. So it could
Okay.
still,
I
that
say
X
no.
chromosome can be like a recessive X chromosome. It can be an X chromosome that has a recessive allele.
All right. It calls for us to understand, okay? It calls for us to understand what is a carrier. What is a carrier of this hemophilia? Is a carrier a male that has got the disease, or maybe a male that is normal but carries the disease? That's what's most important, so that we can really fully grasp this. Because if you look at it from both perspectives, some of you are right and some of you, all of you guys are right if we look at it in two perspectives. But when we are referring to careers most of the times, we talk about someone who has got an allele or carries the allele. That's why I say it's a carrier, but it doesn't really affect them, okay? So someone who's got the condition, but they don't really show symptoms, so they are just carriers, okay? So a female can be a carrier, but a male doesn't necessarily become a carrier. We don't call males carriers because males, whenever they have this recessive allele, whenever they have got this allele for the condition, since males have got only one chromosome, whenever they have got this allele, it means that they are definitely hemophilia. They are definitely having the disease and they do have the symptoms of this disease. But when it comes to females, the females, they can carry the allele that is causing the disease. For example, the female number 2, she does have an allele that causes the disease, which is X with a small letter H on top, but she doesn't necessarily have the disease herself due to the dominant allele. So the dominant allele kind of suppresses the symptoms of the disease. So the female has got the disease, but the disease does not show its symptoms. Okay. So if a female that has got 2 X chromosome, one is normal, another one has the disease, she can pass that X chromosome to her offspring, and the offspring can end up getting a disorder. But she herself does not feel anything. All right. Do you guys get the sense of what a carrier is?
Yes, sir.
Yes, guys. A carrier, someone that carries a disease but that does not show symptoms. So let's do this scenario. A normal father. So we're having a normal father, guys. So we have got a normal father and a heterozygous mother, right? We have 2 things there. So let's start with our genetic cross. They say they have children. Construct a genetic cross to determine the possible genotype and phenotypes for the children of these parents. The children, are they going to have hemophilia or not? Okay, so we're going to start with the phenotypes, guys. Let's just try to do this quickly. The phenotypes, we have been told that we have got what? We have got a normal father. So a normal father is a father that does not have the condition in this context, okay? and then we are crossing him with a heterozygous mother. Let's write the phenotype for the heterozygous mother, guys. The heterozygous mother, will she have the condition or will she not have a condition? The heterozygous mother, will she have the condition or will she not have a condition? Should we say that she's normal or she's hemophiliac?
I think she's normal and she's a carrier.
Yes, she's normal and she's a carrier, guys, because heterozygous condition for this particular scenario, for a heterozygous condition, remember heterozygous means that she's got a dominant and a recessive allele. Whenever we do her genotypes, she will have X with a what? With a dominant allele and another X with a recessive allele. That is what it means to be heterozygous in this context, because you're having a dominant allele on the X chromosome and a recessive allele on the other X chromosomes. So this female is a carrier because she's not actually having the disease herself. Okay, she's not experiencing the symptoms of the disease due to this dominant allele. So she is still a normal female. Do not mention that she's heterozygous in the phenotype. It's not really necessary. But they can sometimes mark you right. But usually you just tell us the phenotype. She's normal. And then obviously the father, we already know that must have an XY. So this is XY. That is the chromosome set for the males, XY. All right. So this XY, they say that the father is normal. How do we express it? Is this correct? Written like this genotype. Is it correct for sex-linked inheritance? Is it correct, guys?
No, sir.
Well, what's missing?
No, sir.
What's missing?
Capital H.
Yes, we must have a capital letter H to show that he is indeed normal. Because we already know that when he is sick, he must have a small letter H, right? The recessive allele. But if he is normal, he must have this capital letter H to show it. Don't just write XY, guys. When sex-linked inheritance, is very important to put the appropriate alleles to either show that the person is normal or the person is sick. When the person is sick, use the allele that they have told you. In this case, when the person is sick, they say that he must have a recessive allele, X with a small letter H. But when the person is normal, it must be the opposite. All right. Then you do the rest of the cross, guys, just like a normal genetic cross. You talk about meiosis. You do the gametes. And then you let those gametes fertilize with one another. Fertilization. And then after fertilization, you will write the genotypes for the F1 generation or the genotypes for the offspring. So you're going to write F1 here, generation, then the genotypes, and lastly, the phenotypes.
Hey Lapo, I know that you've been enjoying this wonderful video and most likely you've been enjoying watching this handsome face in front of you, but sorry ladies, I'm taken. I just here to tell you that Educate is on the road to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos. I want you guys to pass. Okay, so if you make my dream true, I reach 100k subscribers, I will make your dreams come true. I will even get you to varsity. I will get you with 7 distinctions. Yes.
Write all these first before you even complete your course so that you can at least get the compulsory marks first. You guys already know where the compulsory marks are, right? You know that this P1 and this F1 is a mark, and then we have got this combination, meiosis, gametes, and fertilization. It's a mark itself, right? So now having this, guys, all you have to do is to just complete the cross. You know, guys, whenever we're doing gametes, we just separate these two alleles, these two chromosomes, that have got these two alleles. So when we separate these, we're going to get X with an H on top. You just put a comma to separate them to show that these are now found in different gametes. Okay? And then now you cross this with X with a capital letter H, comma, X with a small letter H. You simply separate this by a comma, guys, and that's it. So guys, you guys know that you can cross this using two ways. You can just do the genetic cross, the one that we usually do in our sessions. But if your school is telling you about a Punnett square, guys, you can still do a Punnett square. All right, it's absolutely fine. There is no problem, none whatsoever, in using a Punnett square, right? So obviously, this gamete with this allele can meet or they can fuse with this other gamete. And then the combination, when we fuse those two, we already know that's going to be X with a capital letter H and another X with a capital letter H. I mean, mind you, you guys can see that this is a dominant allele. This is an X chromosome with a dominant allele. When it is crossed with an X chromosome with another dominant allele, it's just going to give us this genotype for the offspring. Remember, guys, that these are the sperm cells and the ovum that are fertilizing each other. So this is the X chromosome from the sperm cell of the father that is going to fertilize the X chromosome from the ovum of the mother. Okay, so we are just trying to calculate the possibilities to say that if this sperm cell, the one with an X with a capital letter H, was the one that would fertilize the female ovum with a capital letter H, this is the combination that we would get, provided that these two do the deed. So if the male and the female, they do the deed, that's what is going to happen. Okay, so now the other crossing combination is this. There's two here. There's two here. So now we cross X with a capital letter H with this X with a small letter h. Of course, that's going to give us X with a capital letter H and another X with a small letter h. Continue doing the cross, guys. You guys already know how to do a monohybrid cross. You cross this Y, you cross it with this X with a capital letter H. That will give you X with a capital letter H, Y. So this is XY chromosome. And then the last combination is this Y here being crossed with this X with a capital letter H there. So this is X with a small letter h, with this Y. So these are the possible genotypes of the filiant generation that you can have. So these are the possibilities to say if a certain sperm cell was to fuse with a certain ova, let's say if this sperm cell having the Y chromosome from the father was to fuse with this one from the mother having a capital letter H chromosome, we would get this combination. So guys, remember that these genetic crosses, we are trying to find the possibilities or the possible combinations during fertilization. Otherwise, I always tell you guys that fertilization is random. It's something that you do not choose. You want the sperm cell to be the one that fuses with the ovum. No, you don't choose it. But we can definitely calculate the possibilities to say, do we have more chances of getting a male with hemophilia than chances of getting a normal male? All of that. So we are doing all of this so that we get an idea of the possibilities that we can expect to get if it happens that these two were to mate or these two were to do the deed. Okay, so now let's interpret the phenotypes, guys. Obviously, from this genetic cross, you guys already know that it's similar to a sex determination genetic cross. We must have two females. So this is a female, this is a female. Of course, they're having XX. And we have got two males as well. So this is a male and this one is also a male. Now I want you guys to comment now on their phenotypes with respect to this condition, hemophilia. How many males are we having that are affected? How many females are we having that are affected? And all of that. Let's see. Yes, Matlonolo.
Yes, we have two males, one not affected and one affected.
Okay.
Then we have two females.
Yes. One by one. Let's start with one affected male, right?
Yeah.
So we've got one affected male. We can see the affected male, guys, is the one having the recessive allele. This one. That's the affected male because they're having the recessive allele, right? Yeah. So once the male has got a recessive allele, it means that he is definitely affected by this condition specific. So we've got one affected male. We have got one normal male. These are the possibilities. There is a possibility of getting one affected male, one normal male. Yes. And
then one normal female.
One normal female. Okay. Is it only one? That's normal.
No, sir. I'm still coming.
All right.
It's two. Sorry, it's two. It's two normal, sir. Sorry, it's two normal. I can't see properly.
Yes, it's two normal. You guys can see that the females that we have here, we have got this one, X with a capital letter H, X with a capital letter H. That's a homozygous dominant condition. And this is telling us that the female is normal, right? Even this one, X with a capital letter H, X with a small letter H. She's also normal, although we know that she's a carrier of the disease or she's a carrier of the condition. All right. So now we can say now this is two normal female. We know that one of them is a carrier, but by phenotype, they are all normal. You kind of see it, guys. You understand, Gretos?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now I want you guys to give me the percentage of affected males, percentage of normal male, percentage of normal female. Yes, Telmo.
So I say 25% for affected male and is it, I think 75% of not affected offsprings.
Okay, so 25% affected male as well as the normal male as well, right? Those two, all of them, they've got 25% chances. Yeah, we've got 25% chances of getting an affected male and a normal male. How did we work that out? You guys can see this is like one affected male out of 4 combinations. Guys, remember always we have got 4 genotypes at the end of the feline generation, of the F1 generation. So here we're having one affected male. So this is like one male that is affected out of 4 possibilities multiplied by 100. That's going to give you 25%. Okay, so what about the female as well?
2 normal females, 50%.
50%, exactly, 50%. You guys just say 2 possibilities of getting normal females over 4 total possibilities multiplied by 100 will give you 50%. So that's 50%. Yeah, so this is normal male, by the way. Let's just fix here. So it's 50% normal females. Okay. This was normal male. And 50% normal female. So basically all the females that this couple is going to give birth to, all of them, they cannot have the condition. You guys can see that, right? All of them, they cannot really be affected by this condition because all of them, they are normal. Those are the possible combinations. So there's no way that these 2 can ever make a female that has got hemophilia or that is experiencing hemophilia. Although they can be able to give this X with a small letter H to this female, this recessive allele, they can be able to give it like from the mother, right? The female, one of the female children can be able to to inherit it. One of the daughters can be able to inherit it, but she's not necessarily going to be sick because there is a dominant allele there coming from the father. This X with a capital letter H is a dominant allele coming from the father, and the dominant allele will just mask the condition away such that she will be normal and not experience those symptoms for the disease, but still be a carrier. Okay, that's easy, guys. Now, let's look at explanation questions. Hemophilia is a genetic disorder caused by a recessive allele on the X chromosome. Okay? A hemophiliac female marries a normal male. Explain why all their sons will be hemophiliacs. Okay? 4 marks to explain. Be very careful when explaining such, guys. It's very important for you to state your points clearly and precisely, and also state as much points as you can so that you can explain this. Hemophilia is a genetic disorder caused by a recessive allele. Still the same scenario as I've already told you guys. It is caused by a recessive allele. You should read the statement and find out what type of allele causes the condition. And this recessive allele is found on the X chromosome. So it means that this is a what? This is a sex-linked inheritance type of scenario. There was once you guys hear that we have got an allele causing a disorder on an X chromosome. That is a sex-linked inheritance type of scenario. So in this sex-linked inheritance type of scenario, they say we have got a hemophiliac female, right, marrying a normal male. Now explain why all their sons would be hemophiliacs. Before we even start explaining, let me hear what is the genotype for this female that is hemophiliac. What is her genotype? Yes, Yango.
X to the power of small letter H and X to the power of small letter H.
Okay. All right, because I already explained to you guys that we can only have a hemophiliac female if she has got both recessive alleles, because a recessive allele can only be shown if it has got another recessive allele next to it, all right? And then what about the genotype for the male as well, the normal male? Yes, Telmo.
It's X with a capital H and Y only.
Why are we using capital letter H? Telmo again.
Because it shows that it's dominant and it shows that the male is normal.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of opposite to the recessive allele that is causing hemophilia. All right. So now they say explain why all their sons will be hemophiliac. So all their male children, they're gonna have hemophilia. Explain that. You guys can just do a short cross and you guys can see that if we cross this and this for the male part, if we're just going to cross the Y chromosomes for the male part, if we say this Y chromosome and this X with a small letter H, they were to cross with one another, this will be this. If we were to cross the other one, this the Y chromosome, let's just say maybe we cross it with this other X chromosome, this will still give us X with a small letter H, and it will give us Y next to it. So these are the two possibilities of the male children. These are the two possible genotypes for the male children. Now, my question to you guys, why are all their sons hemophiliacs? Because we can see that all of these two will have hemophilia. Why are they hemophiliac?
So I don't know how I can say it, but according to my understanding, I think the offsprings, the reason why they are homophiliac is that their mother is affected. If their mother is affected, all the offspring that the male brings to inside of the mother, it will be affected.
But why though? Why are you pointing at their mother? Are you having a beef with the mother or something like that? What's wrong with the mother?
Because their mother is a carrier.
Well, yeah. Why didn't they take from the father? Because the father is normal. Okay, the father is normal, then the sons must be normal as well. Like, give a valid reason. Why would you just say and then you'd be like, their mother. What's wrong with their mother now? Be specific, yeah.
Because say the mother, the father, only is not a carrier, but it only X is responsible for determining that it is affected or what. And if the mother is, say, I don't know if you get me, but if the mother is affected automatically, or if the mother is affected automatically, the father will be affected, will bring off offspring that, say,
Okay. You tried to clear. Don't put too much pressure on yourself.
I hope.
But yeah. Ngiyakuzwa mina, but when it comes to the markers must be able to also hear you as well, because this is 4 marks. You have to explain step by step. Let's hear Rolly go. Yes, Rolly. Yes.
Since they ask about sons, it means that automatically we know that the dad will be giving the Y chromosome only. So, meaning that the mom can either give one of it, her 2 alleles, which are both recessive. So both the son hemophiliacs because the dad gave Y chromosome to the both of the boys.
Yes. And yeah, your network is cutting, but yeah, I hear what you say. All right. Yes, guys, that's what's most important to mention, that the father can only give the Y chromosome to the sons, okay? So basically, we have to mention that to say that all the sons or all the male children, they inherit. Try to use terms such as inherit, guys, not give or something. So all sons inherit the Y chromosome from the father. And we already know that the Y chromosome can never have this condition. Y chromosome from the father and the X chromosome from the mother. We know that, right? And the X chromosome from the mother. It's just a general statement. You haven't really given it the full meaning. And the X chromosome from the mother. So all the sons inherit the Y chromosome from the father, and they inherit the X chromosome from the mother. So here you now relate it to this scenario to say that in this particular scenario, both the X chromosomes of the mother is what is having the recessive allele because it's hemophiliac, okay? You even mentioned the genotype for them to be able to see that you understand what you're talking about. So for this case, in this case, the mother is hemophiliac, or you can say both the X chromosomes of the mother have got a recessive allele. The mother has got a recessive allele on both chromosomes. Alleles on both X chromosomes. On both X chromosomes. And even mention, you can even mention the genotype to say it's going to be XH, because the mother is a hemophiliac female. So here, the mother being a hemophiliac female, she has got a recessive alleles on both her X chromosome. So on both her X chromosomes, she has got these alleles. And we've already said that, guys, all the sons, they inherit the Y chromosome from the father and the X chromosome from the mother. So automatically her sons will inherit the recessive allele, or her sons will inherit the chromosomes, the X chromosomes with the recessive allele. Her sons will inherit these X chromosomes. When I say these, I'm referring to the previous one, the one that I've explained, to say that the mother has got recessive alleles on both X chromosomes. Her sons will now inherit these X chromosomes, or these chromosomes, these X chromosomes. And you can say that you are even done here, because we've already explained, since her sons, I'm sure you already explained that the mother here has got both recessive X chromosomes. So basically, when we take the Y chromosome from the father and then we fertilize it with the X chromosome from the mother, automatically the son that is going to be made there is going to have hemophilia, okay, resulting in hemophilia. Yeah, making them hemophiliac. You can use your English now, guys. Not good with English. So you can say making them hemophiliac. I'm sure you're explaining why all the sons are going to be hemophiliacs, right? You explain that all sons inherit the Y chromosome from their father, right? From their father. And then they inherit the X chromosomes from their mother. That's what's known. Okay, so in this case, the mother has got recessive alleles on her both chromosomes. All right, on her both X chromosomes. So her sons will inherit these X chromosomes, making them to be hemophiliacs. And Bonolo asked it in another way. Okay, Bonolo answered it in this way. He said that the condition is caused by a recessive allele on the X chromosome. Yes, we have been told that. Males need one recessive X chromosome. The mother has both a recessive X chromosome. Okay, you don't have to say that males need one recessive chromosome, Bunolo. Here we are trying to explain why all the males are going to be hemophiliacs. Not that males, they need it. We say that males inherit X chromosomes from their mother, not that they need the recessive X chromosomes. But you are in the correct context, of course. And then you now say that the mother has both recessive X chromosomes. When the Y chromosome from the father fertilizes with both the X chromosome from the mother, the sons will have the conditions. Yeah, you can say that. You can say that. Yeah, it's good. It's good. You can still get the entire marks, but try to not say that the males need the recessive allele. Here we're trying to explain why all of them are going to be hemophiliacs. You explain that it is because the sons are supposed to inherit X chromosomes from the mother. And the mother that we have in this present case has got recessive ones. So those are the recessive ones that will be inherited by the what? By the sons. Yes, no.
My question.
Mm-hmm.
Since we said that all sons inherit our Y chromosome, we mean I'm a boys, right? I'm a males. That's a Y chromosome from the father. Then from the mother, that's a X chromosome, right? Say.
Yes.
Yeah. Then mean allowed to this statement, I think only males will be affected, not female. Because if we say if the father give asithi maybe umntwana intombazane utothatha u-X to the power capital letter H, then afuse no X small letter H lokho kuyosolo kunjani kuyosolo angekho homophilia, but if akutothathiwa u-Y ayofuse no X to the power small letter H utoba affected, which is only the males will be affected, not the female, right? Say
Exactly. So here, all the sons, that's why it's specific, all their sons will be hemophiliacs. But if they ask you the condition for the females are going to be normal, because the females, the X chromosome from the father, this one, which is X with the capital letter H, when it goes and it crosses, we cross it with these ones, we're going to get all heterozygous conditions. All of them, they're going to be heterozygous. If we're going to link even these two, it's going to give us heterozygous. And in this case, our heterozygous is a normal female, but they are carriers. So they will be carriers because they are inheriting an allele with a recessive. Okay, they are inheriting a recessive allele from the mother. That's why they will be carriers, but they will not be affected. You explain all of that, guys. You explain all of that. Yeah. Here's what we're talking about. Why males? Okay. So males, they have got a greater chance of having sex-linked disorders than females. So males always have got greater chances in all scenarios of having sex-linked disorders. All right. Why is that? Males have got only one X chromosome, guys. And we've already told you guys that the sex-linked disorders, their alleles, they are found on the X chromosome. So since males have got only one X chromosome, once they inherit an X chromosome with a bad allele, then it means that they're going to be infected automatically. That's for males. Okay, so if they inherit the affected allele on the X chromosome, then they will have the disorder no matter what. Okay. But if you look at females have got another X chromosome, and that X chromosome can be able to mask the condition. Okay. Are we together, Kratos? Yes, Eva Tabile.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, if the fathers cannot be carriers, how can their children get diseases from the side of the father?
May you please try to get closer to your mic or try to remove headsets? Cannot hear you properly.
So my question is, if the fathers cannot be carriers, how can their children inherit diseases from the side of the father's family?
Okay. When you're talking about diseases that are being received from the side of the father's family, okay, that's a good and a valid question. That's a good and valid question. But now, if we are looking at other conditions, not that all of them they are going to be sex-linked, okay? Not all of them are going to be linked to the X chromosomes. Besides these genetic disorders that we are doing, these sex-linked disorders, there are other conditions that can cause a genetic disease to be transmitted from the father to the mother, or from the father to the offspring, of course. All right. But basically, we don't really call males as carriers, because carriers, in a sense, remember, guys, I said that they have the faulty allele, or they have the allele that is infected. Those are carriers, but they do not have the symptoms. But there are other cases where we have got males that are able to give genetic disorders to their offspring, but it is not really the same mechanism as the sex-linked inheritance that we are doing currently right now. It's not really the same mechanism. There are other mechanisms that you guys are going to learn, okay, as you go, because we have got X-linked conditions. These are the sex-linked conditions. The one that sits on the X chromosomes is the one that we are doing. But there are other ones we've got autosomal conditions or something like that. Yeah. And we also have got the Y-linked conditions, but you guys won't do them in grade 12. You won't do anything like that, but just know that it's something that's there in case you're interested to continue and further your studies. But they do have conditions like that. Is that clear?
Yes, so thank you.
Yes, guys. For this one that we're doing, it's only for X chromosome linked. Okay. Here's the last one, guys, that will close with this topic, and so that you can go to the next one. Okay. So let's read this condition. Brown enamel of the teeth. Okay. Brown enamel of the teeth is a sex-linked trait. Whenever they say sex-linked trait, just put it in your mind that it is found on the X chromosome, or it is sitting on the X chromosome. It's an allele sitting on the X chromosome. Now they say a dominant allele. You guys hear that? I read the statement carefully. A dominant allele on the X chromosome. Remember, guys, hemophilia was a condition being caused by a recessive allele, but some other sex-linked conditions, they can be caused by a dominant allele on the X chromosome. Okay, so dominant does not always mean that someone is not affected or something like that. No, do not cram that, please. You will read the statement. They will tell you whether a dominant allele or a recessive allele is causing the condition. So here, the X chromosome will have what? It will have a dominant allele. So let's just give it a letter B and say that a dominant allele B means that a person is affected. So this is an allele for brown enamel. This condition known as brown enamel in your teeth. Okay. So now explain why more males than females have white teeth. Explain why more males than females have white teeth. You guys had the question, right? Brown enamel of the teeth is a sex-linked inheritance, a sex-linked trait, A dominant allele on the X chromosome causes brown teeth in humans. So for you to have brown teeth, you must have a dominant allele on the X chromosome. A dominant one, not a recessive one like the previous scenario. Now, explain why more males than females have white teeth. First of all, do you guys know what is brown enamel?
No, sir.
All of you guys, you don't know what is a brown enamel referring to or something. It's brown teeth, guys, like literally brown teeth. Other people's teeth can never be white. Okay. They are brown. Now explain now why more males have white teeth than females. Yes, let's hear you guys explain. Why are more males? Yes, Mercy Shadrach. Oh, you have brown teeth. Yeah, that's a nice. We're gonna be making an example with you. Why? Yes.
Sir, I have
Oh, sir.
All right, my show Nolo, I just hear from you first so that we
Sure.
maintain order.
Yeah, I was trying to answer, but I'm not quite sure. I think the male have brown because they only need one chromosome to be. I mean, only the X chromosome is affected, and like I wish you know that male have X and Y. So like, if only the X is affected, it's shy.
Yeah, exactly what we've been explaining, guys. For males, it's so easy to get a condition or to not get a condition, all right? Yeah, for males, it's very, very easy, okay? So when you're talking about brown enamel, it's brown teeth, guys. So males, they've got a bigger possibility of having a white teeth than females because males, they only need to have this Okay, males only need to have X with a small letter B. And your X with a small letter B is the opposite of brown teeth. So it must be white teeth, right? It's the opposite, guys. If the dominant one, it is brown and it's a capital letter B, then the recessive one, it must be white with a small letter B. We've got brown teeth, white teeth. So basically, a male only needs this chromosome, this X with a small letter B, and the Y chromosome. And boom, they've got white teeth. But for females, we can have combinations such as these ones. We can have combinations such as these ones. We can have combinations such as these ones for females. Okay, we can have combinations. The last combination possible, it is this one for females. So basically, females, for them to end up having white teeth, especially for this condition, is going to be very difficult because they would need to have what? They would need to have two recessive alleles for that to happen. Because the recessive characteristic is only shown in the phenotype, in the homozygous recessive condition.